Hi everyone, my name is Byron and welcome to Be Kind, Be Happy. Today we have Leigh, my good friend Leigh, and this will be the first episode of our Be Kind, Be Happy podcast, where we talk a lot about kindness, happiness, meaning of life, and streaming consciousness in a positive, happy way. So to get us started, let's get an introduction from Leigh. Leigh, please tell us a bit about yourself.
Hey guys, I'm Leigh. I'm 24 and I'm from Canada. I'm a teacher and currently enrolled in Teachers College in Canada here. I've always been fascinated with human development and potential power of positivity. I'm a workout enthusiast, a mental capability enthusiast. And yeah, in this podcast, we're going to kind of tackle a lot of the struggles that I've gone through, Byron's gone through, and see how we can use that, grow from it, and, you know, kind of relate to you and, you know, for a positive change. I probably wasn't even conscious of it, but I was always kind of following the path of being kind and then being happy. So over the last 2 years, I really kind of made that next step. I flew to Thailand, gave up everything behind me, and met Byron. Well, I'm so nervous, dude. Over the last 2 years, I've kind of traveled the world, more than 10 countries. And the one thing that kind of stuck with me, whether it was a poor country or whatnot, people were happy everywhere you go. And it kind of really blew my mind, you know, because at home I was sad. So I went to places where people had nothing and they were happy. It made me happy. I went to places where people have everything. Some were happy, some weren't, but the happy people are what really kind of transcended and made me ultimately be who I am now. So,
okay, nice. And just to quickly introduce a bit about myself, my name is Byron. I'm 30 years old. I'm from Australia. I have an accounting background. I'm currently a teacher in Thailand, which is where I actually met Leigh about 1.5 years ago. And I was a Buddhist monk for 2 years, which I learned a lot about philosophy, a lot about spirituality, and how to live a meaningful, fulfilling life. And which is why I created Be Kind, Be Happy as a way to share positivity, the message of love and joy, and how to be happy as we can be, how to live our best self. So for the first question for the podcast.
So hey, Byron, what does Be Kind, Be Happy mean to you?
Okay, great question. So to me, I think everyone in the world wants to be happy, but we all have our own ways, our own paths. Not always what we think we do that leads to happiness is what actually leads to happiness. Sometimes the path that we follow may lead to more anxiety and stress than it does to the desired outcome. But in my own personal life and journey, I realized that being kind is the most direct way that leads to the most happiness, not only for ourselves, but for everyone around. And if we were to emphasize on compassion, kindness, and love in our life, our everyday life, then we can bring a lot of happiness to the people around and to ourselves. I think that is very difficult for anyone to achieve any state of happiness if the happiness is only self-centered and there's no regard for the happiness of other people. And so I built this philosophy or this idea around happiness for everyone and not just personal happiness, which I think is very limited and very self-centered in a way that it doesn't lead to long-term happiness and long-term fulfillment. I think that'll be a very brief explanation of what I think Be Kind, Be Happy means. And later on, we can establish more and build more on that. Okay, so what about yourself, Leigh? What does Be Kind, Be Happy mean to you?
So I think that I think I'm a good person, and I've always kind of followed that philosophy, whether I was aware of it or not, right? But then I met you, and the interesting thing was I met you, the most genuine person I've ever met in my entire life, right? Like truly kind beyond belief, truly happy beyond belief, and it kind of just planted in my head. And then we left, you know, traveled the world a lot more and saw more people. And I kind of realized, like, the people that are happiest are the people who are doing the most for others. And watching others kind of grow and you know, blossom into a beautiful flower, really, right? Like the poor farmer who doesn't have much, but he gives what he can to the people in his town, in his small village, and now they're all eating together and everyone's smiling, right? It's such a like mind-boggling thing that, you know, here in Western society, like we just kind of have maybe lost touch of that. Not everyone, but some people have, and I think it's important to see it, feel it, or at least watch videos on it, and that will kind of lead to you maybe making a positive change in your life or something like that, right?
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
So then the next question naturally would be, what is your interpretation of the word kindness?
For me, kindness is just simply doing something for others without wanting anything in return. And maybe all you want in return is their happiness. And that will just lead to your happiness anyways, right? So it's like, it's a funny thing, but you already do that with people you really love, right? Like, if you really care about your friend or significant other, your parents, whatever, you're going to do things for them just to make them happy. So take that concept and kind of just apply it to, you're walking down the street, you see a store owner or something. Maybe it's just a smile and wave or something, but that little kind of triggers a ripple effect. Now they're smiling and waving at the next person who's walking the street who wasn't even smiling and waving at them. And it builds and it builds and it builds. And then, you know, in just one single moment, you've kind of created this chain reaction of happiness just on a Tuesday, you know, Tuesday morning, walking to work or something, you know.
Nice, nice. If I was to talk about my interpretation of the word kindness, it'd be very, very similar to what Leigh was saying in terms of playing the well-being of other people in our own minds and taking consideration of the happiness of other people, their comfort, their joy and safety. And I think the intention is there, but there would also need to be some skill, like a level of skill, so that the intention can actually lead to a positive outcome for the other people. And so if we were to talk about what type of skills we need to develop to be kind in an effective way, because just having the intention might not always be enough.
Yeah.
Then I think the skills that then I think that the skill sets. Wait, really just walked into the thing. Wait, let me just start again. So that so if we talk about the skill sets that a person needs to develop to be effectively kind, I think it would be something along the lines of being patient, being empathetic, being generous, being selfless, working hard, so being diligent, and also having a level of wisdom to know what is right and wrong. Because if we don't have wisdom, we don't have the right mentality or attitude, the right moral compass, then even with the best intention, we might be walking down the wrong path or following a wrong road. So I think if we were to be well-rounded in all these regards, then I think we would be able to have more effectiveness in our pursuit of kindness. Okay. Anything you have to add to that, Leigh?
I think we always fall back on our hearts anyways, you know, whether you say you get in a fight with someone or something, you know, argument, then what do? You're kind of like, oh, you're heightened response. So, you know, you'll be nicer to them. Oh, maybe you'll get them a coffee, you know, it's like, oh, I'm sorry. And it's like kind of taking that feeling and that energy that you've already done, you've already put it out there time and time again, and cultivate it and just make that your baseline, you know, like you're always looking out for the people around you, people that you love, or you're looking to meet people, and just start with that heart of yours. And you know, once you really listen to your heart and listen to, you know, what it's telling you, you're going to cultivate it and get better. So Byron's a great example. And I think that's what this video platform, that's what's so important, is like Byron's a little bit further down the road, you know, like I'm kind of coming out of my comfort zone, trying to figure it out. And that's part of it. Like, as we go through this, I'm going to try things that we have talked about, and maybe we'll reflect on that. Oh, I failed this week, you know, like I had a really rough week, and I kind of got too stressed out, and I thought I did something good here, and I thought that was going to be, you know, the thing that helped me through this, and maybe it wasn't, but I know that I'm on the right path. and we're going to keep going down that path and then see where it takes us, you know? That makes sense.
Nice, nice, excellent. Hey Leigh, this is actually going really, really well. I was thinking that because right now the recording is only showing the person who's speaking. Yeah.
And the podcast should be open, should be almost like a raw open form. Like, obviously you will edit things out that are maybe too personal or what you feel is maybe just pointless or whatever, you know, and we try to censor our language a little bit more, you know, stuff like that. But I think really you want the open talk, you know, like that's what a podcast is, and that's what makes a podcast great, because you're like, you're listening to someone having a conversation. You're not watching a presentation. You know what I mean? Whereas this is more a presentation. And I think maybe that's something we should touch on in this video. Like the ultimate plan for this is to kind of openly tackle life's challenges, you know, the challenge of a 20-year-old in this world, and using the things that you've seen, you know, like the things that you've seen personally, traveling the world, being a monk, teaching kids, meeting the love of your life, etc. And same for me, the things that I've seen in that, and the things that I've seen living at home, growing up in Canada, you know, that stuff too, you know. And then if it continues, like the next thing we do is we bring in someone else, right? Like I have a couple of friends that are already like, dude, get me on that podcast. I'm like, oh,
sweet.
When you're ready.
Yeah, when you're ready. It's more relatable.
My next question for you then is, Byron, what do you envision, like where do you envision this platform going? Yeah,
great question. So to answer this, I've gone back to the speaker mode. I really hope that we can together create like a community of people who are also inspired towards kindness, towards a holistic lifestyle, towards spreading happiness and joy and wanting to become a better person. If we can use our message, our experience, and share the energy we have, not to say that we're better than anyone, but to say that we just want to create a community of like-minded people and then share knowledge, share experience. I hope that we can push forward the human race, or at least push forward. Yeah, I really do think that we can push forward the human race in our own unique way. Not maybe we can't make the whole world, maybe we can't change the whole world in one moment, but I think it's a whole process, and we can play a part in that process. The process towards enlightenment, towards liberation, towards true, everlasting, eternal joy and happiness. What about yourself, Leigh? What about yourself? Like, how do you think, like, what direction do you hope we can push this, or like, what direction do you think we can move this towards?
I envision this as like a long-term project. Obviously, it'd be great to build a community, but ultimately, the best thing we can do is make ourselves better just by doing this and having conversations like this. Like, that's the only way, because everyone has that feeling inside, you know, and you have to find the strength from inside to use that feeling for something good. And if it's simply having a really good conversation with a friend or a mentor or someone you admire, just do it. And that's what we're doing here today. So it's super exciting, you know, a little bit nervous, but feed off that energy, right? And I think I've been thinking about this all week, and it's like this kind of idea that I have, and it's like you might have 100 people in a room, right? 99 people are great, good people, enlightened people, like really, you know, they're doing amazing. All it takes is one person in that room to ruin the whole thing. You know, if he just really is evil, bad person in his heart, you know, whatnot. And so you need 100 people out of 100 to be good. And so if we all just, oh, I'm good, that's good enough. Like, I do good things, you know, like I'll buy a coffee for a stranger, or I'm there for my friend when he needs me. Like, it's not enough, you know, if you really want to make a real change in the world, right? Like, you need 100 out of 100. So that's what we're trying to get to. We have to get to it, you know? So that's kind of like my life mission. And even when I wasn't conscious of it, I was already kind of going down that road. So now I'm conscious of it, and I'm going to try and do whatever it takes to kind of get there, you know, and that includes having great conversations with you, Byron.
Nice. Great. Cool. So if we were to move on to the next question, which would be, what is your interpretation of happiness? Because I guess happiness would be very different to different people. We all have different sources of happiness. And if we can all just be on the same page for this podcast, what would be your interpretation of happiness?
For me, happiness is like, it's just this unconscious feeling, you know, like you're smiling, you don't even realize it. You feel good. You have, in some sense, infinite energy because you're happy. Like when you're like a child, when they're happy, it's so beautiful. They're just flapping their arms like, oh, happy, 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 happy. And that's kind of what we all should be doing in a way, you know, just vibrating happiness. And part of that is you have to be vulnerable and you have to be open and you have to have people around you that you trust and love that will help cultivate your happiness and then help theirs in the same process, right? And that's the whole be kind, you know, that will build better relationships with people. People will see it, you know, if you're unconsciously kind, it's just something that you do, the same as you drink water, you know, when you're thirsty. People see it and feel it, even if they don't recognize it. There's something about that guy, man. Like he's so happy, or he's so kind, he's so genuine. And, you know, that's basically what we have to try and do. And that's what we're trying to do. And so that is what my happiness is. Because, you know, when I look at someone that I know loves me and I smile, like, because I'm so excited to be with that person, just in the presence of them or on the phone with them or whatnot. That's what makes me happy, you know, and maybe turning someone's frown upside down, right? Like that's happiness, man. Nice. When someone's sad and you just look at them and you're comforting them just by being there. You don't even have to say a word. And suddenly they feel less sad, angry, afraid, whatnot. Now they're happy. Like that's this energy of happiness, you know?
Nice. Excellent.
I think so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Cool. Thanks for that, Leigh. That was very well said. I guess my interpretation of the word happiness would be very, very similar. As Leigh said, as you said, like a very good feeling, a feeling of being very relaxed. I guess happiness would be what it's free from, would be another way to define it for myself. For example, happiness would be moments that are free from stress, free from sadness, free from anxiety. I'd like to think that we are all inherently happy. So as long as we are not feeling any of the negative emotions and feelings, then we would naturally be resting in a naturally happy state. So maybe from that perspective, a different approach towards happiness would just be to eradicate or try to remove the sources of suffering that are taken away from our happiness. And if we can do that, then we would be abiding in an effortlessly happy state. Yeah, but I guess like happiness is a very difficult thing to describe because
that was good.
Yeah, like what is happiness? That's very hard to explain.
I have this feeling it's like when you're truly happy, like we're talking 100% happy, even if you have outside pressures and anxieties and all these things going, which everyone does, like everyone has a bunch of cups, metaphorical cups stacked. Everyone has it. Whether it's some relationship issue, their friends having a hard time, their parents maybe yelled at them or they had a tough time at work. But when you're truly happy in the moment, none of that matters. At least in that moment, none of that matters, you know? And so you have to try and cultivate that so that when you are in a moment of pure stress, fight or flight, anxiety, whatnot, you can kind of check yourself and be like, you know what though? I'm loved. I'm happy, you know? These are the moments in my day that were happy and loved. Maybe they were none, but in my week, year, whatever. And find that baseline happiness, and then you're going to get through anything. Like you can literally get through anything with enough love and happiness. Anything.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Nice. Dude, I actually wrote this article like about a year ago. That's on the website, the blog website. And the title is How One Person Can Change the World. And I talk about the ripple effect, our own circle of influence, and how we are influencing the people in our circle of influence, and those people end up influencing the people in their circle of influences. So if we bring up a positive influence to someone, then like a positive impact, that person creates positivity, like what you just said, to the people in their lives, and spreads, man. And that's how you can change the world, by just being a good person.
100%. I read this quote by this doctor, and I saw it on Instagram. It just came to me, right? And I don't know if I sent it to you, but it was like, when you become the embodiment, when you live and breathe love, and you become the embodiment of love, that's when you can change the world. You know, when it becomes totally unconscious, that's just who you are. And maybe you've already been that your whole life. Like, maybe you have. You just have to try and consciously recognize that, like, you know. And it always starts young. Like, no one's born angry, you know. No one's born. We do maybe cry when we're born.
No one's born racist, right?
No one's born racist. These are social constructs. So tap into your inner child. Tap into those feelings and emotions, and do something. You know, start with something that maybe you were passionate about when you were a kid. Maybe you're passionate when you're 15. Look at it. Think about it. Maybe try it again. And maybe that will unlock something for you,
sure.
You know, like some beautiful thing for you. And then again, when you're passionate like that, everyone loves passion, man. Everyone loves it.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice, man. If you guys, our viewers, have any questions or topics you guys want to share, or you guys want us to explore, please let us know in the comment section so that we can look through it, and maybe next podcast, next video, we can address those questions that you guys have in mind, and hopefully we can provide some insight through our experience so that maybe we can help you in your everyday life.
We have so much to cover here, and we have so much time, and we're going to cover as much as we can over our lifetime. And that's the life purpose, isn't it? You know, so, like, you know, comment, whatever, but we're going to keep going. Keep going.
Nice. So Leigh, like, dude, like, your intention for the podcast is that we just keep this ongoing, right? There's no reason why we can't just keep conversing, like streaming consciousness, and just keep, like, it's not that hard. It doesn't require much effort. And then we can just keep doing it. As you said, explore everything that we can. Yeah. And I think, but I think one of the beauties too is, like, let's say I go down a rough path, right? Maybe this is what I need to keep me going positive, because the thing is, everything is talk until you experience something that's so hard that really, you know, makes you question everything that you believed, you know. And that's kind of exciting in a way too, isn't it? Like there's probably going to be something in the next year or whatever that for either of us that really kind of rocks us, you know, and we're going to get through it, and we'll document it, you know. And that's going to be awesome. Documenting it, working through it, showing that you can get through it, because you can get through anything with positivity. So I'm always here, you know, when you need it, boom. And you're always there when I need it. It's a magical thing, right? And I believe it to my core. You're always going to be there, man. And I know I'll always be there for you. I'm always here. Always. Sweet. Thanks, Leigh. And, like, as you said, like, we can address, like, current social issues. We can even go back if we want to talk about, like, the recent history, like, I guess what's happening now with the COVID virus, with the Black Lives Matter situation, whatever happens in the future, or we can even, like, pick up something that happened in the past and provide some insight on that. Dude, there's so much things to talk about. We can talk about everything forever.
It's life, man. That's how exciting life is. And that's like, that's why, like, every day, for me, I'm having this mindset that's like, every day got to be a full day, you know. And maybe you only do one really good thing in the day, but if you really do it with all your might in that moment, it's going to be a full day anyways, you know. And then you're going to have days where you have this. Like, today was one of those days. Like, I have so much stuff that I have to do today, and I just tackled this with all my energy, and I'm just going to go use this, go to the next thing. Maybe I'll go cut my lawn as a little intermission between the two things that I have to do, you know. That's great, you know. Let's keep going.
Nice.
Keep going.
Nice.
You know?
Nice. Cool, man.
Hashtag keep going.
Hashtag keep going, everyone. Keep going. Never give up. I always say that. Believe in yourself. Never give up.
Yeah, man. Sometimes, like, the most cliche, cheesy lines, there's so much truth in that. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been spread, you know, over, like, our lifetimes. Sure. Like, embrace the grind. Like, it's actually a great concept. You know, you just have to really think about it and feel what that means. And then you're like, wow, that actually is a pretty good one. Embrace the grind. Embrace life, man, and all its struggles.
Nice. Dude, there's so many cliche ones, like, live in the moment. But, dude, if you live in the moment, man, like, you're enlightened.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And it's perfect, you know. And we're gonna keep touching on this later, yo. So it's all good, man.
Cool, guys.
So much time.
Yeah, dude. So
all right, dude.
I guess
have
we can
some
wrap it
good
up.
Dinner, man.
Yeah.
Have some good dinner. We already wrapped it up, man.
Yeah.
We can take
all
some.
right.
Okay, we can just do this. Bye.
Bye, everyone. See you next time. Stay tuned. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.